The crime scene on Branch Street is spilled milk. The question is, who knocked it over? Who knocked that car over? Who made that mess? Who created that bloodshed on that street? Who did it? Why did he do it? And how do you determine those things? The Commonwealth has the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt to prove that the defendant, Daniel Kahn, committed first-degree murder. I would submit that you have all the evidence you need to come to that conclusion. That this is a first-degree murder conviction based on what he did that day. We're not at Middlesex and Queen. If things had happened here, different case, different story, different theories, maybe different crimes. We're over here. We're over here when Daniel Kahn walked up this street with a gun in his hand, right past Donald Demont, the pool guy. Calmly walked right up there and joined Demon, who was smashing on that car, and then executed Palmer with gun. He got himself a blood. He thought Palmer was blood. We know from all the evidence that you've heard in this case that everything began at that corner there. And they were probably gonna, even Double Long tells you, I saw them drive by, we exchanged word, what's up, what's up? He goes and gets his pipe and he walks towards him. He told you that. But we're long past smashing each other's cars now. That had been going on for 2 months now. We heard from Dabo that he had done it to Demon's car. We heard from Dabo that Demon had done it to his car. We heard from Dabo that he didn't tell the police he smashed it first. We're past that. This is not some kids in the street fighting. It's not smashing windows anymore. It's graduating. We are now a first-degree murder. And Daniel Kahn brought us there. He brought us up that road based on what he did. All of the witnesses in this case tell you the story. They tell you what happened there on that street. Now, testimony from witnesses is evidence, if you believe it. If you don't believe something somebody says, it's not evidence. And you decide this case based on the evidence. You determine what the credible evidence is, and you apply the law as the judge will give you after the closing arguments. And the judge is going to tell you you can believe everything a witness says, only a part of what they say, or nothing of what they say. Or nothing of what they say. You have heard from so many people who were on that street, that were in windows, that were sitting there, that were in cars, and if you put all those pieces together you can determine what happened on that street. And I think Monica Vega is a good example of that. She was the woman in the apartment above Ramos Liquors. She tells you she was looking out the window, she watched what happened. She heard the defendant say, "God." But she also said that he walked up the street, I think she said he shot the dude. He walked up and shot the dude. And then she said he continued to run up Branch Street. I think there's a reasonable inference he didn't run up Branch Street. Everybody else has him coming down Branch Street, getting in that car. Plus, Monica Vega saw his face. We know that because she picked him out of a photo. She doesn't know any of these people. When the police came over and canvassed the neighborhood, "Can you come down and talk to us?" She gives a statement, she looks at a photo array, and she picked him out because she had just seen his face. So you take somebody like Monica Vega and you're like, all right, she may be wrong when you're going back up the street. She got the rest of it right. She had the face right, and she got what he said. And she watched him walk away. And she has a memory of him going up the street. You take all of those witnesses and you put them together, and you can see that when Demon and Steamer ran across these bloods, they chased them. Whether they went down Queen, which most witnesses have a memory of, or they went down School Street, which I believe the defendant told you, they go down this street and they see the traffic. The defendant sees them caught in traffic, trapped. They're in a blood car. It's already tagged. Slobs BK. Demon knows Dabo. He knows he's a blood. He knows he's RCB. Even Sarko Poff, who said he's a black rag, you saw him today 6 years later. And he even said, I would have got out of the car. I would have got out of the car to back up my boys. He couldn't get out. He couldn't figure out how to pick up the seats. And when Steven and Deemer saw them, they went after him. They followed him down that street, and when they saw that they were trapped, they approached him. And Dean was doing what he and Dabo had been doing for months now, smashing on those windows, smashing on those windows. He's going to break that window. But guess who's got the gun? Guess who's bringing it up another level? Not that there's anything proper about smashing people's windows. But he's got the gun. He's going to get himself a blood. And who's in that car? Who has, of all the witnesses and all the people there, who has the best vantage point? I'd submit Mona Vega, when you go to see a show or a sporting event, the seats are a little bit higher, gives you a good view. She had a great view. She doesn't be biased. She doesn't know anybody. She's dealing with her own health issues now, living in Connecticut. She comes back and tells you what she remembers, what she saw. Outside her home, at 5:30, broad daylight, busy intersection. Well, we know it was broad daylight, and we know the defendant knows that, but he had to do it in a gangway. He didn't want to do it because it was broad daylight. But that's all right. Everybody in TRG, they got him out of town. They shuttled him from one safe place to another. He shaved his head. Let's get him to Lynn. Let's get him over to Revere. Let's get him down to Rhode Island. Yogi, let's go. Let's get him to North Carolina. They took care of him. He took care of the bloods that day. And all the other witnesses on that street, we've got Chantabari, 15 years old at the time. She's up at that store. She's sitting here and she's watching this happen. Sitting there, just sees this happen. And she sees the defendant behind that car. A lot of people say that. Waving that gun, and what's Garrett doing? He is panicked. He is frantic. He's trying to get out of that spot. He's the one that's acting in self-defense. He's trying to retreat. He's trying to get away. But he couldn't. He was trapped there. And he moved up, and he moved down. And Daniel Kahn walked around that car, the defendant, and he waved that gun, and people saw it. Who's looking out that car? And who's looking around? Darasong. Who picks him out of a photo right away? Darasong. Boom, right there. The guy with the gun. Monica Vega picks him out. Du Bois picks him out right away. In the photo array. And you heard some talk about, the taint on the photo arrays, and this big sack here. You got this big sack because the Commonwealth has the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt to prove to you who committed this offense and what offense he committed. And I would argue to you that it's murder in the first degree. And if you look at all the photo arrays, you heard from the detectives, sometimes they changed the array because they were concerned that people might know people in the arrays, and then that would eliminate that person. So they wanted to make sure it was not suggested, it was a good array. But when you look at the arrays, nobody ever saw the same array twice. It's not as if they brought up a photo array to a witness and they didn't pick the shooter out, they didn't pick the defendant out, and they said, come back tomorrow, we'll show it to you again. That didn't happen. If they looked at the array and they didn't pick out a shooter or anybody, marked it down, no ID. Sometimes they picked out somebody else. What did the police do? They didn't put that away and say, oh, we got to get justice for Crystal Downs. They wrote it, no ID. He picked this person. They documented evidence. They let evidence lead them to what happened here. They didn't create the evidence. They didn't get rid of photo arrays that weren't good for them. And I would argue to you that it was good, smart, appropriate police work. From the second that shot was fired, that one shot from that .22 semi-automatic, the defendant fired. And we know where it was on the road, on the yellow line. We also know that the roads are crowned a little bit, so the rainwater goes to the side. We know it was driven over. Steve Walsh told us that based on it, he can tell that a car really went over it. We know that medical personnel was in there trying to help on it. We know from Kevin McCauley that he actually drove around and went up to the station. So you don't actually know from where the cartridge casing is, where he was when he shot him. You don't know that from the cartridge casing, but you know he was in that area. But what you can tell where he was when he shot him is from what the witnesses said and from what Reconstructing says, the doctor as well. She talked about the path of the bullet, left to right, front to back, upward. And that was her testimony performing an autopsy. The body's flat. Left to right. front to back, upward, when her body's like this. She can't tell you how the body was positioned when you were shot. And if you look at the cars of that red Toyota, that seat's back, so almost like the door is here, the seat's a little back, we certainly know he wasn't sitting like that. We know he was left, right, out, reverse, around, up on a sidewalk, and then right around the side of the car, the defendant. Right in the car. Boom, and executed him. Where do you think that bullet would have gone if Palmer didn't move? And how do you think he did move? Instinct to protect your face? Did he go like this? He moved his body a little bit.
So,
And then it went down this way. Did he go like that? What did he do based on the evidence in this case? Based on the path of that bullet? Based on what the witnesses say about how close he was? Boom, one shot and then out. The defendant in this case committed murder in the first degree, which means, I would argue to you, that the judge will give you the law. Three things. It was an unlawful killing. Second, he did it with malice, which means there was an intent to kill. And three, deliberate premeditation. All right, we have an unlawful killing. How do we know about malice? What's malice? An intent to kill. How do you know when someone's taking what their intent is? You have to look at other circumstances, other evidence. And this is where the gang affiliation evidence comes in. For limited purposes. We know he's TRG. We know he has enemies. We know he saw the enemy. We know the bigger the tattoos, the downer you are. We know that from duty. The more you have to represent the brother. Protect, you get protected. You see an enemy, you see a blood, that's what that evidence helps you determine. And when he walked up that street, the demon knew who those people were. We don't have any evidence in this case. You see them? Did? But we know. He knew they were Bloods because of who they were with, because of the red car, because of who was tagged on the car, because Demon knew Dapper. And who was really in those cars? Some girls, a 14-year-old brother, Besok and Pop was there, Darson was there, Dapper was there. And when the defendant ran up on Branch Street, he didn't care about that black car. He didn't care about that, the SRX that T is in, and Lakina, who's 14. He's going after the blood car. He's going after the Bloods. He's going after those guys. He's going to get himself one, and he did. Ooh, right there. And when you talk about, you try to decide deliberate premeditation, I would ask you to look at a few factors. Deliberate premeditation, a decision to kill. It can be days, it can be hours, it can be seconds. Deliberate premeditation can be seconds. So when did the defendant form an intent to kill, a deliberate premeditation? Did it start on Middlesex and Queen? When they approached each other and he either flashed that gun, some say he rolled up the shirt, some say he took it out, some say they heard somebody yell, gun, run. And they did. You won there. Those 7 or 8 guys, girls guys, they took off. They ran. What did Dabo tell you? I know they have a problem with me, that's why I ran. I figured, you know what, I don't care about my brothers or the girls. I'll run. And you heard from some of the witnesses, he was running. And it's interesting, some of these witness statements, the first thing they see is a guy running with a pipe. Probably assume, he's the bad guy or he's chasing someone. But you've heard all the evidence in this case, and you now know Dabo sprinted down that street and then up Branch with a pipe. And Du Bois, you saw Du Bois. You would have followed his brother wherever. He ran right after him. Did he have the club? Did somebody else have the club? Did they drop it up on Smith Street? It's hard to know, I don't know. But we know that those two ran with the pipe, maybe with the club, up that street. Tia jumps in the car, she takes off. She's not leaving her boyfriend, she goes left. Horace, he's following his brother's girlfriend, right behind him, and they go around that corner. And now, what does the defendant and Demon do? They get back in that car, they go down that street, and they see them stuck in traffic. Fish in a barrel. Blood's in a blood car. It was easy. They leave their car in a position where they can get out of there fast. They park it over by Ramos. If you believe the defendant's version of events, Demon's in the car, playing the radio, and this is going on the street, and 4 or 5 guys are going after it with this fight. Well, we know from all the credible evidence in this case that they park down there and they walk up and they set on that car. And at what point that deliberate premeditation is here? Is it when he drives around? Is it when he sees them? Is it when he starts to approach and thinks they can't get out of there? Is it when he decides to take the gun out? Is it when he sees Davo off in the distance? Davo and Du Bois a little bit afraid to come closer? Is it when he sees him go back and forth? Is it when he decides to go around the side and end this, to win this? And shoot him with malice, thinking about it. Maybe it was seconds, maybe it was minutes, maybe it was the minute they went down, and saw them. You're going to hear that deliberate premeditation is not so much a matter of time, but a logical sequence of events. With regard to the possession of a firearm, the court is going to give you the elements of that offense. One of the elements is that the firearm, the barrel, is shorter, smaller than 16 inches. Based on the reasonable evidence you've heard in this case, it is. The defendant even says he had it in his pocket. He says he hid it in his stereo speaker. Donald Dimon said it fit in his hand. David Ung said, the gun looked like yours, according to the police officer. Trooper Walsh told you about the name 22 long rifle being confusing. That they can be smaller guns or longer. And as TRG Gray is EBK, everybody killer, the defendant in this case is a warrant killer. And I would ask him to find him guilty.